I'm going to explain my AFK cake farm, how I do it, and why I do it this way. To begin with, let's go ahead and cancel this so you can see all the supplies here. You're going to need to be able to get flour, red berries, milk, eggs, and honey. Now, I'm going to begin with flour, because I think flour is going to be the weirdest part of what I do that's different from a lot of people. I do not grow my wheat. And the reason is, I don't know if everyone else is dealing with this, but I have a bug where my pals will get stuck over top of a field and they will not actually harvest the wheat. So I buy my wheat, just for ease, down here from a merchant in this small settlement. I actually caught the merchant and brought him back to my base to buy my wheat, but that's where I buy my wheat, and I take that wheat and I just chuck it into a mill and make flour, and it just saves me a lot of time. Now, for every other component, I use ranches. And yes, my proportion of pals is not right, but I use ranches because that way I can AFK these things. So I'm going to show you how to get all the supplies from a ranch. Number one, these guys here are at the very beginning of the game. You can just pick these up. Like, I don't need to give you an exact location. They're all over. But for the other pals, the bee guard here is up here. Now, this gives honey. Honey is a non-perishable food. Now, I definitely went overboard with honey, but the reason for that is I can fill my feed box here with split up stacks of honey, and what this will do is my pals will only eat this honey, which means everything else will go into this cooler here, which lasts longer, which of course is just what we want if we're going to be AFKing getting the supplies for cake. To continue on, you're also going to want to get a hold of a capricity, or however you pronounce that, because these will sometimes drop red berries, and you can see this all over the place. Now, why aren't I growing red berries? The same reason I'm not growing wheat. I just have it get buggy in my plots. I don't know why. So this will just drop it. She'll just poop it out in the farm, and that's fine. That just means that we can use these and just have multiple ranches out here. And the final thing we're going to need is going to be the milk. And milk, again, I need more of these for my own farming, but here they are. And this is the habitat. It's very easy to get to, and they're all over the place. And you can also just defeat a bunch of these if you want to get milk that way. But again, I wanted something AFK while I'm asleep. So while I'm asleep, these are the amount of supplies I got. Now, at this point, what I'll do is I'll swap out this pal for a cooking pal, because it'll take a while to do this. And when all of these cakes are done, and while they're sitting here waiting to be cooked, the timers don't go down, I'll take it all over here, and all the way over here I have my little breeding plot. You're also going to want this because it prevents the timer from going down on your cake. So even if you're not breeding at this moment, go ahead and build one to store your cake. So with this, with me sleeping overnight, I have about 200 cakes waiting for me, and I do not have my pals proportioned outright. I do not have these pals upgraded so they drop more supplies quicker, which you could definitely do by fusing. There's a lot of changes that can be done to make this function a lot better, but this is just a basic rundown of how I am AFKing cakes, because I do plan to do a bunch of breeding and testing things out that way.